What's going on, family? Live and direct on the air, live and direct on the air. Y'all know the brand. Freedom is a must. Freedom is definitely a must. Hoping everybody's well, everybody's safe, everybody's healthy, everybody's keeping it positive, everybody living today because tomorrow's never promised. So, a lot of people ask me, they didn't know I was king, how long I've been king, am I still repping king and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you what's going on. In 1989 and 90, I used to go back and forth to Connecticut because I have family up in Bridgeport, Waterbury, New Haven, Hartford, and those areas. And so on the weekends, I go over there, and the weekdays, I go back home into Brooklyn. And so going over there, they had these groups, Latin Kings, BMD, which brothers making dollars, the girls that was part of the group, sisters looking out for brothers, the Latin Queens that were for the Latin Kings, and these are the major groups that were out there. And my brother Vic was down with BMD. So through my brother Vic, I met a brother that I got real tight with, Charlie Zapata. His brother Johnny Zapata, that was a big crown of the Latin Kings out here in Connecticut, and I knew his mother Blanca, and I knew the whole family, you know what I'm saying, back in those days. So me and Charlie got tight. And, Charlie Zapata, Johnny Zapata, everybody know them throughout the state of Connecticut. They know what they're about. They know they get busy. They know, a lot of people call them the mob because they were white boys and call them this, that, and the niggas is tough or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They got busy. That's as simple as that. So one day I'm hanging out with Charlie, man. We see this big group up in Seaside having a meeting. So Charlie said, stop the vehicle. And we stopped the car. And we thought it was either Latin Kings or Charlie's group. When we get off, it was a bunch of nondescript dudes having a meeting. It's like 500 people in this meeting. So we're looking at the beads and all that stuff there, and I don't know too much about certain things. So I can't speak about the beads and this and that because I don't know too much. I was NFL at that time. And so Charlie told him, yo, who the one running this group right here? And they brought the dudes over there, and some of the other dudes, and some of the dudes that are running the group, yo, that's Charlie Zapata, boom, boom, boom. They breaking it down who he is, boom, don't come out your mouth, don't get stupid, boom, whatever. So Charlie's asking the dude, yo, y'all just started this, you guys got blessed through the Kings, through BMD, through this, that, you know what I'm saying? You got this authorized, what's going on here? Because, groups, they get the blessings from other groups that are out there so they can be all as one, you know what I'm saying? And be part of the same side. And so the dude said, nah, we ain't get no blessing for no Kings, for nobody. We just came up with a name, came up with the bees, and came up with a color, and we put it together. Charlie said, that's not how it goes, man. You got to get authorized, you got to get approved, you got to have a meeting, we got to have a sit down, we got to discuss it. You can't just start your shit. So as of right now, this shit right here, this whole shit is paused. We passing this shit to my boy right here, which was me, and give him your number, whatever. He's going to stay in communication with you, whatever. You know what I'm saying? All right, the dudes left it as that. You know what I'm saying? I started communication with the dudes later on because the Latin Kings and BMD was upset that these dudes just came out of nowhere starting their shit when they should know better. They told me, listen, you got the blessings, take over that shit there, do whatever. I changed the name, I changed the color of the beads. Cool. So after that, the Kings, I got the word that the first crown of the Kings wanted to come see me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know if it was a blessing, that they was coming to bless me for the group or whatever too. You know what I'm saying? Because BMD and Charlie Zapata and them and Johnny had already gave me blessings, you know what I'm saying? But Johnny was a king, big crown, and his brother Charlie was with BMD. So, sure enough, they set up a date to meet up. And like I said, at the hangout for BMD and the sisters looking out for brothers was 2 blocks up from North Avenue Jail, and I lived across the street from North Avenue Jail. So, it was a time we went over there. I went over there with Charlie Zapata, you know what I'm saying? And, we went over there to wait for the Latin Kings to come through to see what they want to talk to me about. And my brother Vic was there from BMD. And while we was there, of course, brothers are slinging there, that was getting money there. Little Danny Sabato was there. May he rest in peace. Little Danny Sabato, I'll never forget his name. And so he was out there slinging, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how, they were getting their money. So finally the Kings arrived on there, and it was like 4 dudes, 4 Latin Kings, and there was a girl with them. So right away they came, they introduced themselves, and when they introduced themselves, I thought that one of the dudes were actually, the first crown of the Kings. It couldn't be that the girl, Letty, was the first crown of the guys, the girls. She was the boss of the whole Latin King and Queens in Connecticut. And so while we was talking, she was saying that, she already heard from Johnny, from Charlie, my brother Vic and all them, from family, you know what I'm saying? They ain't got no problem with me starting the group or taking over that group that was unauthorized anyway, but that I had to change the beads to a different number. And I asked, like, I'm trying to get what you're trying to tell me about that. And what it was that Latin Kings and Queens wear 5 and 5, 5 yellow or 5 gold and 5 black, and they're the only group that can hold those 5 points like that. So if I wanted to, to have a certain beads or whatever, I either had to get a 4 on 4 beads, 6 and 6, or whatever other number, as long as it's not the 5 on 5. And so cool, yeah, not a problem, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, they gave me the blessings and all that. But in the process of that, this is what happened. So we talking, and a little further from us, on the same side of the streets where the building's at, where BMD, that's their corner, half of them living in buildings in there. Some dudes get out the car, and they go out there, they cop some drugs out of little Danny Sabalos, Danny Sabalos, something like that. They went over there to cop some drugs, and we ain't know that at that time the dude was sticking him up for the drugs, but also telling him where the rest of the shit at, where the stash at. So Danny Sabalos go, and it looks like he's taking him to the stash spot, and once he showed them where the spot was at, they came and they shot him. They shot him a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? We ain't know if he was dead on the spot or whatever. We just know shots was ringing out. When shots was ringing out, the dudes that were coming out put the guns towards Letty, the Latin Queen, which is she's the first girl of the Queens and the Kings, put the gun towards her and started shooting. I took her and I grabbed her and I threw her over the car and I shielded her. Charlie and them was trying to get closer to where I was at because they was in the corner, but I was able to get a gun from Charlie Zapata and I shot back towards the dudes until the dudes decided, they were running towards the car. They were just trying to get away when they were shooting, and I kept shooting and they got in the car to get away and get up out of there. So because, Letty and all the rest of them were kind of hot, whatever, they didn't want to be there when the police and all that stuff came, so they bounced it out. I bounced out because I was one of the dudes that was there shooting back, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to, when they come in there, they test my hands, and my hands got the residue of, of gun residue. So I left too, found out later through my brother Vic and whatever what was going on, and found out that little Danny Sabalos, rest in peace, passed away. He died behind that situation right there. Cool. The next day I get a call, and it's a call from Nelson Millet, the godfather of Connecticut for the Latin Kings. I didn't know who was no Nelson Millet. I didn't know who at that time who was Uncle Pedro. You know what I'm saying? So Nelson Millet, they put me on the phone on the 3-way. So Letty's on the phone. Smurf was there, with Letty, and Johnny and all of them. So, I'm speaking to Nelson Millet, and he told me who he is, and he's telling me that he appreciated what I did for Letty. How I protected her, how I covered her up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the same way with Smurf, her husband, said the same thing, man. I appreciate what you did, whatever. The dude was putting the gun towards my girl, was gonna kill my girl, was actually shooting, it went right close to her, to hit her up and all that. You came, you took her out the situation at the right time. So they said, listen, that group that, I heard about that group that you took over, whatever, forget about that. He said, you come in with us, you coming home with the Kings. And I said, listen, I ain't got no issue with that, but I told him, listen, I live in New York. I only come over here on the weekends. But, I got a team in New York that, if y'all going to bless me, can y'all bless my dudes and the people that I got up in New York too? Nelson Millet said, listen, I ain't got no problem with that. I'll send Letty, I direct Letty and all the rest of them to go down there, set up a date and a time, go down there to Brooklyn, and, we'll crown you and them at the same time. Sure enough is that they went down there, they went into Brooklyn, and I was living at that time in 99 Tompkins, and across the street from 99 is a school. So in that park, they went over there, they crowned us, I think it's about 18 of us, 18 of my peoples, they blessed us, they crowned us, and we were able to go back and forth, because we lived out there in Brooklyn, but go to Connecticut, attend some of those meetings, because New York ain't really had their meetings like that. And I say that because the Latin Kings in New York started in the jail by King Blood, the Godfather, in 1986. So by 1989, it was still circulating into the prison. It really wasn't out in the streets. So I really didn't see Kings out there in the streets when we got crowned out there. Later on in time, Yeah, they were out there. So we were crying that we were blessed. And then after that, we wanted to celebrate and we wanted to go, do something. Because, Letty and them, Josie was there. Cruz, the CO, he was the CO in Connecticut, was there. Johnny was there. Bobby was there from BMD. A lot of people was there that went, they had a few cars that went up there to Brooklyn to Checkers. So I took him to Original Queens, right there in Tompkins. Myrtle and Tompkins is where I was living at 99. So I took him straight down into Original Queens. While we over there, a police see that Cruz had a gun. So they called for backup and all that stuff, and mad police came down there. They put our hands up or whatever, they grabbed him. He was able to show his credentials that he was a CO, so he was able to get away with that where, he was a police, so he was good. At that time, they ain't had that thing now that you can't go from state to state with your gun. Now you got to get the Utah license and all this other stuff in order to go from state to state. So the police let him go with the gun. What was crazy about that gun is that it wasn't a service gun. It was the gun that had about 4 bodies up in that gun. That was the body gun. You know what I'm saying? He was a hitman. He was a hitman, for team. You know what I'm saying? But later on in time, we got over that. And we decided to leave up out of there. That was the 104 precinct. Anybody that know about Ridgewell, Queens, 104 precinct is the hottest precinct, dangerous. So we stepped over into Knickerbocker, was the 83rd, to get away, get away from that type of scene and chill over there for a minute. Later on, in Connecticut, they locked up Correction Officer Cruz because they caught him. Somebody else told on him he was bringing razors up to the Kings up in the jail, so he got caught up. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. So he got locked up and shit. So later on at that time, man, it's crazy because I found out through Letty that she happened to be family. She was a cousin, and I didn't even know that at that time. So I was already family already without even knowing. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, every time, there was missions or whatever, Letty was one that, she had to go with her husband Smurf, or she's out there going to the missions, even though they told her, yo, you the crowd, you're not supposed to be doing that. She was out there to make sure the work get done. And she will always get me because now she knew that I was the one that, protected her from that scene that happened in the first time. And not only that, we happened to be cousins. So, it was double, you know what I'm saying? So she knew that I had her back. So every time that there was a mission or something, we went out on missions. So ever since that, you know what I'm saying? I was with the Kings. I never became a crown in Connecticut, but I was back and forth having the meetings out there. But because I was from New York and stuff like that, I moved up in the ranks in New York as time came. I was head of security. I became a prince. I became a supreme crown. I was a crown. In fact, when Tone was moving up in position, he was 4th. I was his 5th for Brooklyn Tiger Tribe. When he moved up to 3rd, I was 4th. When he moved up all the way up to first crown, I became the 2nd, and so forth. We was out there with Mello, shout outs to Mello, shout outs to Kano, you know what I'm saying, Grandpa, and all them people, you know what I'm saying, that was in my structure, you know what I'm saying, when we was out there. And I got to move into the ranks and stuff, and and that's how, that, I was king. I was king, and I'm still king. I hold it in my heart. As we get older, we do different things, we do older things. You know what I'm saying? But we still hold what we are from the heart. I still communicate with a lot of my bros. If you look at my videos, you see a lot of bros that came out of jail, like VI and other dudes that I've been around in the prison system. And they knew, I repped up in there. I repped up on the outside. And, we stay in touch. We communicate. We show love and all that stuff there. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm always going to have that in my heart, because, the times that I became that, it was mad love, it was true love, it was real love and shit. And, I'm always going to hold that in my heart, man, you know what I'm saying? But that's how I became king, man, you know what I'm saying? Because of those reasons, big shout outs to Johnny Zapata, that's in jail for life. Hoping he come home, freedom is a must, come home soon. You know what I'm saying? China, that was out there, with Letty, side by side, and Josie, and all the other brothers, Junebug, my boy Will, who I crowned, in Connecticut, got him crowned, and he passed away, man. He got sick on me. Anthony's brother from Bridgeport, he held me down. Will held me down to the fullest. He lived around the corner from me, from when I lived in front of North Avenue jail. You know what I'm saying? And all the other brothers, man, that held me down, man. You know what I'm saying? And I continue to go. Now it's just different. I go to New York on the weekends, and I stay out in Connecticut on the weekdays. You know what I'm saying? But that, you know, that's the stuff how I became king, man. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I still hold it in my heart. Got mad love for, you know, for a lot of kings that held it down, that still continue to hold it down, man. And y'all already know, man. You heard? Hold it down. 118. Peace. Because I did a little YouTube thing, and I don't know if you remember all the way back. You remember when you was with BMD?
With BMD?
You remember that?
Well, make it down,
yeah, sisters looking out for brother. You remember that because of you, I became tight with Charlie Zapata.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And behind Charlie Zapata, you don't remember how I became king? You don't remember that?
With this nigga, I think it was with his brother.
Nah, bro, you remember because of you, being my brother, I met Charlie Zapata that was with BMD with you. So me and him got tight. So I met Johnny Zapata, his brother, but you remember that the Lane Kings, they wanted to come talk to me because I started that group that they wanted to talk to me about, and I met them over there by where I used to hang out, up the block where all you used to hang out by the North Avenue jail. And you remember they killed little Danny Sabalos?
Yeah.
You don't remember that day Letty came with the Kings, and they went after they killed Danny Sabalos, they went to shoot at her. I grabbed her, threw her over the car, and Charlie Zapata threw the gun, and I was shooting back at the fucking dudes. That's how I became king. They crowned me right after that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because Letty was first crown of the kings and the queens. She came with Johnny Zapata over there, because they were coming to tell me that the beads in the group I started, that Puerto Rican power thing, that the beads was 5 and 5, and only the kings rock 5 and 5, you know? Yeah, so when they was talking to me, that shit, they was sticking up Danny Sabato, that little young kid, and then when he went to take him to the stash, they shot him, and then they came back because they saw us. They started shooting, and we started shooting back at them niggas. You don't remember Papi came out hysterical. Huh?
Yeah, that's a long time ago, bro. I remember that day.
You remember? Yeah.